the channel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Let me fix this. There we go. Welcome back to the gym. It's a little bit of a different scene for me now. To keep you guys updated, I posted on my YouTube and on my Instagram that last week I wrecked my knee again. This one seems to be kind of a worse injury than the last one that I had playing pickleball on a boulder that's kind of right behind me actually. I fell off the last move on the landing, probably due to a bunch of previous knee injuries. It's just not stable joint, but on the landing, I didn't think I did anything necessarily wrong, but there must have been an imbalance because basically my knee just totally buckled, but it felt like my knee went one way and then whipped the other way kind of thing. So my ACL feels a little bit weird, my MCL definitely feels weird, and my MCL is the one that has the reoccurring injury. Tons and tons of swelling, so I'm 1 week out from the injury. The good news is I'm off of crutches, which is nice. I'm hobbling around. I do get exhausted pretty quickly. That's kind of where I'm at right now, just doing some physio and then another assessment to find out kind of what the next steps are for the knee. I just finished my physio workouts and little exercises, I should say. They're pretty pathetic. Just like how little movement I get and how much effort I have to put into it to do it. But it's all about the road to recovery. I did some upper body stuff as well, so I'm trying to stay strong and trying to just do what I can while my knee sucks. With all that said, I'm obviously not climbing these days. So it's gonna be a while before I'm back on the wall, but I am here with Valerie and Jason, and I'm gonna do some climbing commentary. So they've got a couple routes in mind. I'm gonna do my best to shoot them and figure out, you know, who did what better where, who had the better beta and the better ideas, or, you know, what could we tweak to make a little bit more efficient and that kind of thing. So let's jump into it and get on some routes with them and see what they got. Hopefully you guys can hear me because it is bloody loud in here. I'm becoming an old lady. Broken knees, and I'm like, it's too loud in here. Aging sucks. Alright guys, let's take a look at route number 1. Valerie versus Jason here, and this is a crimpy climb, so keep that in mind. All the holds here are crimps. Alright, first draw, I like Jason's clipping stance a little bit better. He's got that extended arm. But then on this second one, I like that pop-up from Valerie, but on this second clip, Valerie has got the better stance for sure. Jason's got a lock-off going on that left arm to clip, and keep in mind guys that when you're clipping, the arm that you are not clipping from should be straight. Lengthen it out as much as you can. That will be much better for efficiency later on in the route. I like Valerie's stance here as well. She's going to take a bit of a break. I like that long arm. Looks like a good undercling that they were both clipping from. And clipping from an undercling here as well. That seems to be the best spot. Jason does a nice smooth crossover move with a wide base here, which is nice. Let's see how Valerie does this. She's going to go from the undercling, but let's take a look at how much closer her feet are together and how staggered they are. Jason seems a lot more relaxed in that wider stance, and he's just smearing that right foot. They both go in for the crossover, but it looks like Jason just commits to this move a little bit faster than Valerie does, and that's better for efficiency, of course. Valerie fiddles a little bit more, and then we see a lot of strength from Valerie here on the left arm. Jason seems to be smoother there. We're gonna pause him for a second and take a look at Valerie. Her stance looks nice actually, with that left toe kind of toe hooking that little arete spot there. That just gives a little bit of tension. Jason comes through. I like Valerie actually turns the left hip in here by bringing the knee inwards, and that was nice. But we're gonna see Jason do something a little bit nicer. He matched the feet on that lower foothold and flagged out right, and that made for a very smooth upward motion to that bigger hold. Valerie's staggering the feet again, and this just makes it seem a little bit more stressful. I would prefer to see the foot match right foot out, but she goes up top and pulling there. You see that bopping like kind of motion where you're readjusting your hands. Try and reduce that as much as possible. See, she's doing it a little bit more. They both go up left foot and out left hand. And let's see how much gas Valerie's got in the tank. Not much. That chicken wing's coming up, and that's a surefire sign that you're about to fall off. The upper section here that Jason just finished, very straightforward climbing. There's not much difference that we're gonna see here in their beta. It's pretty easy to read. So Valerie does finish in the same way. We got the left foot way out, which is quite nice, bumping up the left hand. These are both side pulling crimps, and just standing up on that right leg to make the finish jug. Nice wide stance for the final clips, which is always super nice to clip off of. Wide stance, straight arm, that's kind of like the best option to clip from. I should also tell you guys that just because you haven't sent a route doesn't mean that you didn't have better beta than somebody who did send the route. Just because they sent doesn't mean they did it in the best way possible. It's just whatever they did worked for them at that moment. But there's still things that they could do better. Okay guys, let's go on to route number 2. This is a very pocket climb. So there's tons of pockets, and if it's not a pocket, it's a crimp. So let's start off this route with a nice pocket. Clip off of the right hand, they're both in the same stance. That looks pretty good. Stretch out wide, right to a crimp. Now Jason has a little bit nicer of a beta here. He went a little bit wider stance with a smear on the right foot, which allowed him to cross over the left hand into this sloper pocket that Valerie's currently on. A little bit nicer. Valerie scrunched herself up a bit and it closed the box, and sort of made it a little bit awkward, almost a little spicy as well. I do like the wide stance on the clip here though. Lengthen out that arm again. That's going to make things efficient later on. Alright, through some pockets here, she's going to come up to a crimp, and they'll both clip off of this crimp in a nice little stance. Jason goes up right foot by using a foot chip on the left hand side, opened up his box a bit, which allowed his hips to open and get that right foot there. Valerie went left foot into that sloper, that larger sloper pocket instead. And then we'll pause Jason in this stance. Valerie's gonna come up likely from that first kind of jarring motion that she didn't catch the greatest. She's probably already a little bit pumped from that. Plus the nerves, right? Nerves always pump you a little bit more than they should. Valerie's gonna be on the left hand side of this sloper ball style hold, whereas Jason's on the left. I don't necessarily think either is better than the other, but I do like that Valerie crossed her left foot in here instead. Allowed her to stand up really nice and easy. Jason looks like he's a little bit just faster here, but that's okay. Valerie goes up. I'm liking Jason's clipping stance a lot more. It's closer to the waist, sure, so you're climbing a little bit higher, but Valerie's looked a little bit more stressed, clipping from below like that. She's gonna pull across same way that Jason did, but I think the pump is coming on strong now. We can see her readjusting quite a bit on that left hand. But she makes it through, stands up, and if you're gonna rest anywhere on this climb, this is the spot. You have a perfect stance here to rest with both feet directly underneath you. You can get both hands off, shake out as much as you want. I like the step up from Valerie. Jason's gonna kind of decide what he wants to do here, and she's got a nice clipping stance. It'll be the same one that Jason uses. We can see that right before that, Jason made a nice little conscious use of the inside edge of his left foot. Oh, he gives us a little wave. How cocky. I like it. Valerie, I think, is getting pumped. She's shaking out. She's shaking out. But it looks like Jason is also getting a bit pumped here too. Oh, big fall from Valerie. Whoopsie daisies. What can you do? Jason looks like he gets the last few moves in here. Not necessarily that easy, but let's see how Valerie completes the climb. Their beta here is the same way. Again, this ending looks pretty much straightforward. Like you couldn't necessarily choose different beta than what they're doing. So they end in the same way. Second last holds a pocket up to kind of a hybrid between a crimp and a jug for the last clip here with the high right foot. So good job to both of them for sending this one. They're both trying to flash this climb, and it's not easy to flash these types of climbs. So my best advice is when you're trying to flash something, read as much of the beta as you can from the ground, but don't beat yourself up if you didn't get it perfect. There's usually a difference between what you've read from the ground and what you feel when you're on the wall. Let's hear what Valerie has to say about it.
That was my flash go on the orange one. So really happy with the flash go, but obviously when you fall right above the last draw, not quite at the anchors, you're like, ah. But I told myself I would go to failure, which I did.
Yeah.
Really happy with that. How many times have I said really?
Really?
Yeah.
It was solid.
So that was a solid flash go. I honestly think if I can find a brake efficiency to like shake out, I think I'll get that. So the green one, that was my second attempt, very solid attempt. Again, same thing, fell right at the last draw, which is always like, ah, so close, but I'll get that. I just did like 2 11s in a row, so I'm happy with that.
Awesome, yeah.
That's progress for me. Boom!
It's a process to sit down. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed those 2 comparative climbs that Valerie and Jason completed. They were both pretty awesome, and I think, and Valerie gave us some really good attempts on them. That's the grade that she's at, where it's kind of like a coin toss, is she gonna flash it or not? So she did a really great job, and I think when you're trying to flash something, there's obviously always room for improvement with your beta and getting a little bit more efficient, but that's why it's awesome to reflect back on the climbs that you're doing and maybe even taking video of yourself and watching it to analyze what you could do a little bit better to get those flashes checked off the list. But yeah, again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you again in the next one. Thank you. Ciao.
Not featured on camera, but part of my climbing family that motivates me. The good Courtney Warren and the good Jason.
Hi.
You can edit that part out.
Just like my wave.